So now we come to the panel discussion. The topic of the panel discussion is about digital hospitals that are emerging in the future and how these digital hospitals are leveraging technologies which transforming the fundamental paradigm of the care delivery, patient experience, as well as the staff management and operations management in hospitals. How increasingly technology adoption and digitization is taking effect in these hospitals. So for this panel discussion, we have an esoteric set of panelists, and it's my pleasure to welcome on stage Bharathi Reddy, CEO and Managing Trustee, Vijaya Group of Hospitals. Dr. Kishore CM, Vice President Healthcare Services, Be Well Hospitals. Dr. Natesh B, Chief Operating Officer, Lifeline Multispeciality Hospitals. Welcome, sir. Dr. M. Dinesh, Medical Superintendent, Madras Medical Mission. Welcome, sir. Mr. Soundar, CIO, MGM Healthcare. Sweta Sharma, Segment Head Building, Schneider Electric India. My first question, not just getting into deeply into the technology innovation, but very broadly, I would like to ask a very fundamental questions. When we are talking about the operations management, issues like staff management, a hospital ecosystem will have different stakeholders there. Patients, obviously, the caregivers, the doctors, then the administrators, then the other constituents. So this overall operations management and staff management, what role increasingly technology is playing there to sort of facilitate the overall process and smoothing the process, improving the outcome of patient care. So what are the role you see there? If you can take the mic.
Panelists, am I audible?
Yes.
Yeah. So I come from a 52-year-old institution, which is we just completed 52 years, and we have been into patient care right from day one, and we have staff who have been with us for more than 30 years. So changing their mentality and getting into digital platform was a big challenge for all of us. So we went into this HMS systems in 2011, and it was so difficult to make our staff understand why we were doing it. So basically they thought they were going to be displaced from their jobs, and that's the mentality which most of these the staff had, and of course we had to interact with them and discuss with them and say this will be the best thing because it will make integration better where patient care is there and communication better. So this is how we started it off, and just to say that today we have brought in a new software just last night. And that was also another big challenge because we knew we had to advance in our technology. We were still behind. So to get into the the EHR and the EMRs and interoperability plus connecting departments and making our consultants who have been with us for 30 years, get into this digital system has not been an easy task at all. So that is how we have started, and definitely, We have interacted, we have our IT system department, which has been interacting from day one about how to go about it, taking their feedback, telling them that, you can ask me questions and we will be answering you. So made changes according to them, and that's how we have brought it in. And I've just got a report that it's running kind of smoothly, but it's still not there. So yeah, so this is what digitization is going to do to us, definitely.
Excellent.
And we definitely are looking to patient care and, bringing the real-time data collection. That's what we are looking at.
So you have hit upon a very pertinent point. So we talk about the technology, the software deployment and the things, but the cultural changes that are required.
Absolutely, yeah.
That's perhaps even more crucial. Without that, whatever software or technology you deploy
And
might never work.
Us being a trust hospital, we also had to look at the budgeting part of it, which is not easy, so it has to go in a phased manner. So we had 1, 2, 3 phases we have actually chalked out. So that's how it's going to happen, because then, we have to make people understand that the long-term savings on the ROI, that's what's very important, I think. So,
Perfect.
yeah.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you. Our next panelist, Dr. Kishore. I'll come to you the question when we were talking about a digital hospital. From a Be Well perspective as well as from your personal perspective, what do you understand by a digital hospital? And very briefly, ma'am also touched upon 2 of the challenges there, budgeting and the cultural issue. Beyond that, any one key challenge you would like to highlight in such a digital hospital?
Thank you for asking the right question, because right now, one of the main challenges that we are facing is in training. Training of the various stakeholders of who are going to ultimately utilize the technologies that we are putting forward. And oftentimes, attrition plays another challenge. Once in today's hospital scenario, what we are noticing is a very high rate of attrition. So once we train our stakeholders, it's not always that we are able to retain them.
Okay.
So then again, a new individual comes into the place, and then we have to retrain that person. And oftentimes, this is one of the major challenges that we face whenever we try to implement a new technology or a new system in place.
Okay.
This
And
is
anything about, briefly, you would like to mention about digital hospital?
in terms of setting up a digital hospital in India, I think we are very, very far away from actually what is done in the advanced countries. For one main reason, in India, still manpower is reasonably well accessed and cost effective. In fact, post-pandemic, I think in Germany, there's a shortage of 250,000 nurses that they require. So the only way they're going to circumvent this problem is with technology, by using more and more technology to circumvent this. But in India, I think we're a little far away from that point. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. Dr. Natesh, I'll put the same question to you. Your perspective, especially from a Lifeline,
from a digital
also on
hospital.
a digital hospital,
yeah.
How it would look like, and how do you go about those kind of deployments? Maybe infrastructure-wise, if you can highlight a bit.
Yeah, first of all, let me thank APAC News as well as Schneider Electric. I think to spread digitalization of the hospitals, we need more forums like this. Because especially among the medical community, I find that the concept of technology itself is a little bit, I don't know what, they're very apprehensive. They're very resistant. Sad to say, even doctors are resistant. But we are very good at Facebook, Insta, and all that. But when it comes to technology in the hospital setting, we are very, very resistant. But let me talk about a few challenges I've seen. Because apart from being the Chief Operating Officer of Lifeline, I'm also the CEO of a company called Helia Digital, which is based in the US, a sister company. We are doing a lot of cutting-edge work in digital medicine. And that is very relevant because that's the future. And before I start off by talking what we are doing, I would like to make a request to Schneider Electric. I heard Nikhil speaking, and he was talking about a lot of IoT devices, which are very impressive, Nikhil. But if you want to really push this across hospitals, we need to get it to even the small hospitals. The big hospitals can definitely afford all this. It's just like India, digital payments. We're the highest country, the highest number of digital payments is done in India. It'll be so surprising. We'll be thinking US is the highest, but no, it's India. Why? Because, you go to a village, one guy is selling tender coconuts has got a QR code there, So it is only if you reach small hospitals, if villages can get healthcare. That's when real digitalization of hospitals will happen. And that's when you can really call it a digital hospital. Because today, now I'll talk about the product we have done. 2 months ago, we released an app. It's called the Trustee app. We hold world record now, a Guinness Book of World Records, for doing a health checkup for 11,800 people in 3 hours. How did we do that? The app, you just have to look into the app and it reads out your parameters. It reads out your parameters like it gives you a BP, your pulse rate, your oxygen saturation, and this actually another few apps can do, but we are the only ones in the world to show. It shows you your HbA1c. It shows you your blood cholesterol. And it shows something called your stress level, which is still under thing. Now you can ask me, how do you know these are true? This is now FDA certified, right? And that's done by a lot of studies. And what's in the works is, we are also doing uric acid, urea, creatinine, all these are coming. It'll come another 1 year, all parameters, completely non-invasive. You just need to look at it for 1 minute. And medical grade. We're not talking about, of course, right now it's just at the screening level, but even at the screening level, can you imagine a country like India? We did 12,000 people in a village called Podutturpete. 12,000 people. Kishore is very close to us as Lifeline, as is his father. So he knows the program. It was inaugurated by 3 union ministers and we now hold the world record. So what I'm really trying to say is this is the future of medicine.
Okay.
And digital, I would like to differ with my very good friend Kishore. Digital hospital is going to be the future and India is going to lead the way. I'm very, very sure of it. India will lead the way, not the other way around. We are already far ahead of the West in many, many things in AI.
Got the point.
Yeah.
Thanks. The example, what you have shared, it's excellent, though in terms of considering the connectivity quality across the country, uniform standard, maybe the practical mass-scale implementation is a little bit far off still on that. I'll next come to Dr. Dinesh. And I would like to talk more on the infrastructure perspective. From a hospital perspective, when we are talking about increasing digitization, see, things like sustainability and resilience are also very critical. So from a hospital operation perspective, when increasing digitization is happening, how are you looking into those? So I was saying making the hospital more sustainable and resilient.
Yep. Good morning one and all here. I want to thank AP and the fellow panelists. Digitalization of hospital is, I think we are at the starting or the stepping the first stage into it. And to sustain into the digitalization is like, I would say, I maybe, I don't know whether this forum is right to tell that. The other panelist, ma'am, said that the cultural thing, the people to get into the digital thing, they are not ready to get into it. But one thing, what I am seeing in the field is the youngsters are very much into the digitalization. So the upcoming youngsters, when they get into the digitalization, I think this will be a flourishing state of digitalization and almost the future of Indian medicine, especially in Tamil Nadu, the digitalization will go very high standards. Because there are a lot of fields of, sir said that with the app we can get a lot of information of the patient who can, it is easy to treat those patients and all those things. So that will be the future of the hospital.
Okay. You are talking more on that perspective of the cultural changes, but I would like to maybe for digitalization to spread across culture, very naturally you would think the population that would come more into hospitals will be the higher age groups than the young generation. So some sort of inculcation into digitization perhaps needs to be done there. Okay, our next speaker is Mr. Soundar. As a CIO of MGM Healthcare, I would like to understand what sort of one or two key digital initiatives, technology initiatives that have been undertaken at MGM.
Good afternoon. Thank you very much. And thank you proud to say that our hospital is a paperless. We are into more digitalization of wherever you go, from registration to patient's pharmacy, all this QR code we are using it. I highlight 2-3 points over here. Patients can scan the QR code and they can order the food and they can register the complaint online. They don't want to depend on anybody. Like patients complaint as well as executive operations, they go for the rounds. They can just QR code, they scan, they get all the patient's data, they can complain on it. As well as we have a patient portal that is hosted on our website. Patients can download the bills and the lab reports, all the things. They don't want wait. Once the patient's report is ready, that will automatically trigger to the WhatsApp, to the registered mobile number, as well as they can download till that valid period. Then we have launched recently mobile apps for the patient. The same thing, they can do it, appointments, and patients can talk to the doctors 24/7. It will be soon launched in the public. Still is in the pipeline that we are doing it. Then we can say about EMR, about 80% compliance is there already. IP we are going to start. OP is completed. IP soon we are going for the EMR. Then one more thing, like visitor management, we are using a QR code. Earlier they were using all manuals. We are hosted in our website as well as in our security office, that medical rep and general visitors, they can take an appointment through QR code and then come and visit our hospital. So they don't want to have any manual work over there. Just go to the QR code, they have enter that mobile number and Aadhaar card or whatever the visitor card. That will replicate in the security office. Just while they come, just check in. They can take their tag and come out. Then same thing, we have an online feedback also. Is all it's an online. So we don't, earlier all the hospital used feedbacks manual. We are not using all the things. A lot of things in the pipeline. I was told, thanks to the management, whatever it's a digitalization, our management is accepting and we are going forward. Thank you.
Okay, even that is critical to get the management buy-in in time. Sweta, I'll come to you next. We know Schneider as an infrastructure solution provider, and many of the hospitals represented on the stage as well as in the hall, they will have a huge infrastructure in terms of maybe even multiple hospitals across geographies, across cities. From having a resilient and hospital which is sustainable in the long run, how, as a solution provider, Schneider can help some of these healthcare organizations?
Sure. So thank you for the question, and very good morning to the audience and to my co-panelists. I heard my co-panelists talking about digitization and listening to the especially, some stories. Who says we are like at a nascent stage of digitization? We have already initiated a good bit of digitization in the sector. Now, what I notice here is, we talk about different systems and subsystems in a healthcare facility. Like we heard ma'am talking about how people are like little still they are like, that culture shift needs to come among the people, and then there are like, QR code given and completely going paperless. So these are different subsystems in the hospital which we are addressing for digitization bit by bit. But what could be the next level? And that's where the technology providers like Schneider can come into the picture, is integration of these systems and subsystems. So today we have, first of all, healthcare is a very, very critical facility. And if we see among the building infrastructure, we consider healthcare as number one, like probably data center and healthcare come at par, where we have lots of stake of human as well as data being residing in these buildings. So considering the criticality of healthcare facility, I think we need to talk about a system which brings the proper management of the complete system, and that happens only when we monitor it. So we cannot manage something which we don't monitor, right? So we need to monitor first, understand, and then manage it. And monitoring is something where we need more and more digitizations. We talk about IoT products, we talk about, data coming in from our different IoT enabled assets or equipments in the healthcare facilities, even in the critical rooms like operation theater. What do we do with these data? So we need a platform where we can integrate these data and utilize to manage the facility better and better. Now, this is one level of digitization, I would say. Now, if we talk about efficiency, now one of the output of digitization is certainly the efficiency. I mean, I'm sure all of us agree to it because we are managing it better. Now, as we move up the digitization cycle, we talk about like completely visible systems and subsystems inside a facility. Now, the next level could be where we are talking at an enterprise level. I think most of us sitting over here, we have multiple hospitals at multiple locations. And how do you benchmark these hospitals in terms of operational efficiency? If not in terms of the patient, being treated there, but at least in terms of efficiency of the operations. So that's where, again, technology can bring up the digitization scale, where we are talking about enterprise layer tools, software, services, where you have the visibility of not only the energy consumption, we are also talking about probably nurse calling system or hospital management system, building solutions, fire alarm system, all these critical facilities integrated at one place, giving you the transparent view of the performance of each and every infrastructure in your group. So that is another level. Now, beyond this also, I think that's another, level of digitization, which I'm sure eventually we will land there, where we are talking about AI-based technologies, where we get the actionable insights coming from the data, what we are giving to the platforms. So that would be something which is like ultimate level of efficiency, resiliency, and that's the future, I would say. So in Schneider, we have open platform, I would say open in the sense like it can talk to any of the subsystems of the hospital, and we call it EcoStructure. My colleague Nikhil had spoken about it. There are lots of data available or information available about EcoStructure on our website. So, EcoStructure is one of those platforms which talks about integration of multiple platforms, multiple systems, subsystems in the hospital, create a seamless view, interoperable, and completely transparent to the management. So that's something I wanted to highlight on digitization, how technology provider like Schneider Electric can help.
Okay, thank you. So, excellent way you talked about the integration of the different critical systems as one of the pillars of that digitization approach, but perhaps that would be the next step of where many of the hospitals are today currently. I'd again come back to you, ma'am. From the first point that you mentioned, you talked about that cultural change within the hospital workforce. My question is, now there are different sort of again, the stakeholders in that overall ecosystem. So how did you ensure that sort of all of them are gradually, and which you have said now, as last night, you had that second phase of software implementation also. What sort of training or program regime you have to undertake to sort of bring them at par? Not just making them culturally aware, but make them understand the benefits. So what sort of exercise you had undertaken?
Hello. Yeah, a lot of training and retraining. Without that, nothing happens. And we had a group of IT specialists, and we had our own doctors. One of them is sitting over here. They also got involved in it. See, when it comes to that professional level, the medical level, they have much more perspectives of what they would require and what we would require as a management. So when these people got together, then I think that's where I think it made a big difference. So then, as I said, we had to go to each HODs of each department and also the lower rung of people, because the second, like somebody said, the younger generations are smarter. So they were also, included in this thing. Yes, we can do that. Why can't we do that? Those kind of, they're throwing questions at one another. And finally, we brought them all into one room. I think it was the last stage, where we had about 10 or 15 desktops where everybody was working on it, and all their doubts and everything was slashed, especially with the lab and the pharmacy and things like that. And yes, today we are, touch wood, I think we're going on. I think it's happening. And as somebody was mentioning, what is digitization? It is basically what we want is patient-centric care. It is coming down, I think everything boils down to the patient.
Obviously.
Yes. So if we can provide seamless integration and, appointment systems and, availability of medical records, and later on maybe we are the government of India is developing this, the Ayushman Bharat and the ABA, which has now come in again. So we will all be integrated, but then we all have to talk the same language. That's the problem here. So it has to be standardized throughout the country. If I have to go to some other hospital and I carry my personal records, it should be the same language has to be spoken, I think. So that's it.
Got it. Yeah. Thanks. Dr. Kishore, on these point of standardization, I touch upon an important point was the telemedicine and teleconsultation. And during the COVID pandemic, out of necessity, we saw spurt in teleconsultation and those things happening, which after normalization has, I would say, not to that extent, but I don't think it has come down. So now there are a lot of legal guidelines to teleconsultation, also those things. So how do you see the more mainstream adoption of teleconsultation, and overall, as ma'am rightly pointed out, will it be improve the outcome in terms of patient care? So what do you expect there?
Teleconsultation, actually, glad you brought up the topic. In fact, I was instrumental in setting up Chennai COVID Warriors, where we did more than 75,000 teleconsultations during COVID. And this was very instrumental in bringing down the chaos and panic in the people.
True.
Not so much in the treatment part, but at least to keep them alleviated of the fear, right? As you rightly said, post-pandemic, I don't think we have seen that much traction in the teleconsultation area, but certain hospitals are doing well. For example, Apollo Hospital has one of the most leading teleconsultation setup across their 76 hospitals, wherein a patient can check in and get a consultation from any of the hospitals in their system, which means now individuals have access to specialists who were previously not available in their region or locality. Now you can have access across the globe. So definitely teleconsultation is far superior and one of the most highly utilized tools in the digital equation in Indian hospitals set up. But yeah, it's definitely here to stay, no doubt about that.
Okay, thank you. Dr. Natesh, we earlier touched upon the sort of, if I may say, democratization of digitization in hospitals. Should not be only restricted to the big or the super specialty hospitals, but even the smaller hospitals who perhaps cater to the mass population. Delving a little more in depth into this, when we are talking about democratizing it among the smaller hospitals, what are the barriers? We heard about that cultural thing. Okay, that can be accepted. But beyond that, technology-wise, what do you think are the barriers?
See, in a country like India, where insurance penetration is very little, right? So, and most of the people, I think the mass of the people go to neighborhood doctors and clinics. So I think that is where we need to reach. And one of the main reasons why I think they're going to find it very hard to digitalize is the cost. Obviously, Schneider Electric has a lot of things. So one request I would make to companies like Schneider is to see how you can offer it like a SaaS model, right? These small hospitals cannot afford to pay an upfront fee of so much and then wait for recovery. Maybe if they can pay monthly, right? If they can pay like a service fee and amortize over a period of time, I'm sure that will help penetrate digitization much more. Second thing, like Madam touched on, is training. It's not enough if Schneider just installs the equipment, trains somebody and then leaves the scene. We need the hospital people, especially, technical folks in the hospital are very few. The CIO of MGM is here. I mean, I'm sure he has a tough time educating doctors because they are always interested more in patients and all that. But this is to help them deliver care better to patients. I think if you can have continuous training, once in 3 months maybe, or even once in 6 months, that will help the entire hospital ecosystem to actually get better into the game. And it'll, for companies like Schneider, it'll become more of a pull game rather than push, right? If it's easier, if it's accessible, and maybe if you have one person from your team there in the hospital or in a region, I'm sure, adoption will become much easier.
Okay. Dr. Dinesh, another basic fundamental thing I'd like to, we heard about the budgeting issue twice. My question is, all technology deployment is fine, but we can think of innovative models like SaaS model he mentioned, but otherwise, whatever technology will come at a cost, operational cost, and for a hospital, some of that cost have to be passed on to the patients themselves, which increases the overall expenses, patient expense. What is the solution?
Actually, good question. So I think whenever we say technology and digitalization, we say it is costly, but I defend that point. Because, see, we just look at the price. For example, if you are going to get a software, you just look at the price, what they are going to, like for Schindler to say this is the money. See, initially there will be a little bit of investment. So just for example, the EMR or the electrical medical record or health record. See, I will take MGM, they are paperless. In our hospital, we just did a cost effective, we did what will be the thing which will make the cost higher. The papers what we use and the paper what we make and what we buy and write, if you calculate the amount of money spent on that, easily you can get into the software and it will be much, much cheaper. Because we always think in one way that its technology is at the cost. I don't think so. Because the people mindset have to change. Because Sir said about this, the UPI online payments and all those things. He said US is not the country which has highest digital money. India is doing it. 75% of the thing is done under the thing. So it is only when the thing came in, there was a lot of things. They said no, yes, so much of things. See, even the digitalization also has the same point. When you understand, it becomes easier. It becomes much, much easier. So, and it is cost effective. If you ask me, I'll say it is cost effective. When you compare as a whole, what you spend for other things, when you are going to cut down those expenditure, you are going to get a good outcome, which is going to give a very good quality to the patient.
Okay. Excellent answer. Thanks. Soundar, what I would like to know is, from an MGM perspective, next 12 to 18 months, the key technology projects or implementation which are on the anvil, if you can highlight that.
Yeah, of course, we are planning to remove all edges, all manual edges. That is our key. Like for example, appointments, a lot of registration counts somewhere, labs, all things, there is no ledges will be in the labs area. Everything will be in system. That is our pipeline. Secondly, what I mentioned, I forgot to say some more IoT also we are already enabled. We are working for more than 4 years. Like AC, temperature and water, all the things automated. So we don't want, we have a full building material, BMS system we have. So fully, we can see, come and see that MGM Healthcare hospital is fully computerized, and we don't have, most of the time we're not using any papers, all digitalization and mobile apps and QR codes that way. I can say that we have one more hospital in the MGM Cancer Institute. There also we have the oncology unit there. We are working with our software vendor to make more customization of oncology unit. That's in our pipeline. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Sweta, you will have the last word here. Two things. You heard all the panelists, and earlier you talked about the integration part of the overall thing in the roadmap. Now, two very fundamental points. One, the budgetary cost, which is, so as a solution provider, I can understand it's not just simple, I'll reduce the cost, there are a lot of dynamics involved. So in an innovative model, one, that budgetary challenge, and the other challenge is, again, it's not uniform across. But you have to maintain certain uniformity or standardization to do this implementation. So these two challenges, from a solution provider perspective, how do you look at overcoming?
Okay, so before I get into your question, I acknowledge you, sir, for your point and the urge which you have made to the technology providers of the country, to take forward and address the basic root-based problem. So I take it forward with my management, and we will certainly action on it. Okay, now coming back to the question. So yes, there are challenges whenever there is a change coming in or any kind of transformation coming in, there will be challenges, and we all acknowledged it, right? So ROI is one way of looking at it. We spoke about, buying a software, implementing it, and then the return out of that software could actually be, more than how much we are spending in the conventional way of working or operating. Now, what technology can do over here is, like I spoke about, integration. Integration plays a very, very big role. And integration, I'm just, highlighting the points which I spoke. So integration is one of the things which has the power of giving more and more visibility of things what can go wrong in future also. So being predictive, and more importantly, being proactive in your approach. Now, healthcare being a critical facility, we need to be proactive. Everything is so focused on patient. So the technology, as a technology provider, even at Schneider, there are many organizations like Schneider and technology provider like Schneider. When we talk about technology in healthcare, the focus or the end goal is patient journey, giving a good experience to the patient, and also patient safety, which I think is extremely important throughout the patient journey. Patient might be put on unseen risk, which needs to be eliminated. Now, the technologies, again, which integrates the systems and subsystems. has the capability of going to the next level, where I mentioned we will be able, through the logics and through the artificial intelligence, we can program the software, we can program the tools and the dashboards to throw the outputs to you well in advance before the incidents actually happens. So that is the kind of, like, that is the level of integration and level of digitization which comes into the picture. And we all know, if the accident happens or any kind of, say, power outage happens, what is the risk? What is the business risk? Not only, of course, there is a discomfort to the patient and to the staff, but then what is the business risk we are carrying? So all those things are never calculated when we talk about ROI, but these are something which is certainly to be considered. Another very important point I would like to highlight here, since we are in Chennai, Chennai could be, Chennai, or for that matter, Tamil Nadu could be one of the best states, we can have when we talk about digitization. I was just going through an article last evening while preparing for this forum, that 45% of the medical tourism coming to this country comes to Chennai alone. That's a big thing. And 35 to 40% of the medical tourism domestically come to Chennai, one single city, So the kind of infrastructure, medical infrastructure, healthcare infrastructure we have in Chennai, or for that matter in whole of Tamil Nadu, is extremely appreciated in different forums. So why not, take forward that next step and create an example further? So that's
Chennai
my
and
message.
Vellore together will contribute, I think, maximum of that 45% of that national
Sure.
and even international medical tourism. The South Asian countries, so many people come here, and it can breed, it's already breeding even accessory areas around it. I'm sure across those Apollo and next to all these houses, guest houses and everything, those businesses are flourishing. Okay, great. Thanks to all the panelists. Yes, sir. Can we have the mic?
My voice is quite loud. I want to congratulate all the panelists. They have highlighted a series of challenges. I come from a background of technology entrepreneur. I was involved in transforming the entire healthcare in US from 2009 onwards. So we heard Sweta talking about digitization, digitalization. I didn't hear digital transformation, right? So these are the three phases of transformation which one would like. I'm right now a researcher. I came back from US and now I research on how digital transformation is happening in healthcare. So as Sweta said, digitization is transforming the analog to digital form. So my concern with all the healthcare administrators would be, what are we doing in terms of moving away from prescribing everything on the paper, which doctors told that on long term it would be much more effective, right? So that's something which we need to still work around. I go to many hospitals and I still find there is a resistance in terms of prescribing everything in a digital form.
Okay, sir, I think
My question, I wanted to be very quick and crisp, is how do we help the entire healthcare? Healthcare in Chennai is pretty good, as you were saying, Sweta, but the next challenge is digital transformation. So my question to all the panelists is, how do we visualize the future smart hospitals in Chennai? Thank you.
anyone would like to, or we have the next topic, next panel also on the same topic, and maybe after the discussion with all the stakeholders, we would like to take this up more generically on this platform because we are running quite behind schedule already. So I would like to thank all the panelists again. Can we have a group photo, and after that I would have the second panel.